Okay, you have your Week 1 NFL Power Rankings. So at number 10, I have the Miami Dolphins down 3 spots from my post-draft ranking. The Dolphins, I think they just had a few injuries with like Jalen Ramsey, their running back core. They're still a very good team. They brought in Vic Fangio. They still have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, but in the preseason, their backup quarterbacks haven't looked good, and they've had a few too many injuries, so I have them dropping 3 spots. Then number 9, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Same spot as they were. They're still a good team. Trevor Lawrence, ETN. Their team still looks good in the preseason. Their defense, I'm still slightly concerned about. Um, their front seven, their secondary is slightly concerning. They didn't do too much to improve their defense. That's probably keeping them from being like a top 6 team. But their offense is all there, especially with Calvin really looking great. And then number 8, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Back on this list. I kind of forgot about them in the post-draft video power rankings, but they still have a great defense with a good coach. Um, Marlon Humphrey, did he? I think he got injured, but I'm not sure. But they still have a stingy defense or offense. Lamar Jackson is healthy, and he's got his contract. And the Ravens, they're still a good team, but they're not like a top team. And then number 7, I have the New York Jets up 3 spots. Biggest addition was they brought in Dalvin Cook, and they haven't really had any significant injuries yet. Their defense should be as good as last year, with guys locking down guys like Quinnen Williams. They still have Sauce Gardner, and they did bring in a couple of veteran safeties, which are kind of average. Offensive line is definitely concerning, but they say Mekhi Becton is healthy, so that should help their line. And they brought in Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Number 6, I have the Cincinnati Bengals down 3 spots. It's their secondary. They're bringing in a couple of new veteran safeties. Secondary isn't all that impressive. Their linebacker in front seven is still pretty good, but it's their secondary that concerns me. Their offensive line is obviously always concerning, but their skill position players are there. Irv Smith, I don't think is that good, but Titan is not overly valuable. And obviously, Joe Burrow's injury probably drops them by like one position. Not sure how that injury is going to affect them, but even if it doesn't, I still see them as a 6 team, since they are going to start a couple new starters. And number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys, same spot as I had in the post draft. Very talented team. They actually improved this offseason with Cooks and Gilmore, but they still have so many guys. Great offensive line. Pollard is now starting and should be healthy, so that's good. Mike McCarthy is an all right coach, but Dan Quinn's a good DC. So yeah, I see them as a very talented team, and hopefully they don't disappoint this year. Number 4, I have the San Francisco 49ers up to 2 spots. I'm glad Brock Purdy's healthy again. San Francisco's talent, even without an elite quarterback, is so talented. Their secondary is slightly concerning though, but other than that, their defense, Fred Warner, Drew Greenlaw, Nick Bosa, as long as he's not holding out, did he sign a new contract? I don't remember. Offensive line is also concerning, which is probably keeping them from being like to me a top contender. The offensive line and their quarterback, and hopefully the running backs stay healthy since Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell are both kind of injury prone. But they do have a ton of talent as long as they stay healthy. And I have them as my 4 team. And then you have the Buffalo Bills up 1 spot. Von Miller isn't going to start, unfortunately. He's still injured, but without that, Bills are still super good. Their linebacker and secondary are healthy for the first time in a year. Matt Milano, Poyer, etc. And offense, they improved their interior offense with Connor McGovern, and everybody else is healthy as far as I'm concerned on offense. So I have them as a third team. And then number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Pretty much the same team from last year with a slight couple of improvements, although they did lose one of their edge rushers, but they're still talented. They still have a ton of talent. Their offensive line is one of the best. Their defensive line is one of the best. Linebackers are slightly concerning, but not that big of a deal. Skill position players are still there. I am curious about how they operate their run game, especially with Miles Sanders leaving. I wonder how they'll split up the carry with Swift, Penny, Gainwell. So that will be interesting to see. And then the teams that dropped out, the Detroit Lions, nothing personal. I just don't have the same hype as I did a few months ago. I do think the defense improved, but not too much, and I still have to see their defense for themselves and their offense. Wide receiver depth is definitely concerning to me. they have Amon-Ra and like nobody else. And the running backs, not sure how Gibbs is gonna do, or Monty. Jared Goff is good, but not having the same hype as I did a few months ago, especially with those wide receivers, suspended injuries. And then the number one team, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions. Chris Jones holding out is big to me, but they're the defending champions. I have to put them at number one. Their defense, I think, is concerning, especially with, like I said, Chris Jones. I think that will be huge for their defense. But their offense, Justin Ross looks really good. Pacheco looks injured, but hopefully he's back. But obviously, they still have Mahomes and Kelsey healthy, and I have them at number one. So there you have it, my NFL Week 1 power rankings.